Hi dear students, welcome to our Module 2, Topic 1 Presentation, Frequency, Percentage Distribution, and Graphs. To guide us with our presentation, here is the content. We'll be talking about the textual presentation, the tabular presentation, frequency and percentage distribution, and the graphical presentation. Text, tables, and graphs for data are very powerful communication tools for your information presentation. It makes your information easy to understand by the readers or listeners, and of course, to efficiently present large amounts of complex information. So we have here the methods of data presentation as mentioned: textual, tabular, and graphical. Textual. Let's define what is textual presentation. It is a narrative form of describing the characteristics of the sample or population based on the data collected and organized by giving highlights. And take note of this, it is applicable only when presenting few information. So how about tabular? Tabular, it is data are organized into classes or categories by rows and or columns, and appropriate pieces of information are found in the cells of the table. So it is relatively more information can be presented, and trends are easily seen because it is in a table form. So some details, take note of this, some details are lost when data are summarized in tabular form. So here is an example of data presentation in a tabular way. So you have here the table heading, you have here the information in each cells. So let's proceed. What are the parts of this tabular table? Or I mean the statistical table. So we have here the parts of statistical table. We have the table heading. It includes the table number and the title. We also have the caption, designates the information contained in the columns, and as well as the body in each cell. So the main part of the table containing the information are figures presented. And we have also the stubs and the classes, or the categories, which describe the data usually found at the left-hand side of the table. So let's look for the parts of the statistical table. So in this area, we have here the table number. It is called as the table heading. And then we have here in this column, we call that as the caption, say the reference, and then we have here the body. In each cells, it contains information, and this is called as body. And then in this area, we call this as tabs, classes, or categories, the sons of Israel. So let me review again. This table heading, it contains the table number and then the title. What is the title? The title of this statistical table is Frequency and Percentage Distribution Table of the Recorded Sons of Israel. Mighty men of valor fit for battle, according to 1 Chronicles chapter 2 to 7. So, and then we have here the caption, so the sons of Israel. And then here in this column, in this horizontal, in this row is our captions. We have the sons of Israel, we have the frequency, we have the cumulative frequency, relative frequency, and the percentage. They are the caption. And then here in this column, it is called once again as classes. And then the area or the information in each cells are called body. Now, let's define what is frequency table. So it shows the number of pieces of data that fall within given intervals or category. And how about the frequency percentage distribution? Is a grouping of the data into categories showing the number of observations in each of the non-overlapping classes. And then what is this frequency distribution? Is the summary of the values of a variable based on a frequency with which they occur. So frequency is just the number of occurrences. So if your table contains percentage, then you call that as frequency percentage distribution table. Let's proceed. So what is this group frequency distribution? Is used when the range of the data set is large. The data must be grouped into classes, whether it is categorical data or interval data. I believe you know already what are the categorical data and the interval data based on our previous topics in our module 1. So for example, in each courses or programs, the financial management, how many students are there? In theology, how many students are there? In agriculture, in biology, in secondary education, in nursing, in secondary education, major in English, major in biology, major in Filipino, and then elementary education. Then if you want to group that frequencies or the number of students you can have per school. So you call your statistical table as group frequency table. Okay? And then categorical frequency distribution is used to organize nominal. So remember this word nominal in our level of measurement or category or ordinal level or in our rank type of data. So now we will learn how to create or calculate data and present it in an understandable tabular form. So, example, what is this frequency? It is the number of observations that fall in each classes. So, we have here in the table heading or the statistical table heading, we have the table number and then the title. And then we also have this caption, the sons of Israel. And then we have here the classes, Simeon, Issachar, Benjamin, Gad, Asher, and total number. So what is this frequency? So frequency is just like number of occurrences. For example, how many students or what is the frequency of theology who are taking statistics subjects in this semester? Let's say they are 14. So the frequency is 14. How about in biology? Let's say they are 11. So the frequency is 11. So it is the number of observations, number of occurrences, number of students, number of samples that is the frequency in this statistical language. If we are talking about in physics, then frequency can be defined in a different definition. So in this statistical subject, frequency is just like the number of observations, number of occurrences, so just like that number. Okay, so I hope I made myself clear. So according to 1 Chronicles chapter 2 to 7, in Simeon, there is a frequency of 500 mighty men of valor fit for battle. And then for Issachar, we have 113,200. And then for Benjamin, we have 61,434. And then for Gad, we have the frequency of 44,660. And for Asher, we have 26,000 mighty men of valor. So total, you will add this one or sum these numbers or the total mighty men of valor recorded in 1 Chronicles. We have the total of 245,794. So why is this that they are incomplete? Because in that text, on our reference, there is no record for Zebulon, Dan, Joseph, Naphtali, Reuben, Levi, and Judah. So we can only have these 5 classes or stabs. So now I believe you understand what is this frequency. Now let's proceed to cumulative frequency. So let's define it first. The cumulative frequency can be found by adding the frequency in each class to the total frequency of the class preceding that class. Okay. Example, in our same example in the previous slide, we have the frequency. According to the definition, we just add the frequency in each class and then add the preceding data in the other class. So since there is no preceding class for Simeon, then you just copy it. So in the cumulative frequency, you just copy in the first category or in the first class. So 500 and 500. Then by definition, what is the cumulative frequency in this row? So we have to add the 113,200 plus 500. So now we have 113,700. So same principle. So 113,700 plus 61,434 equal to 175,134. Next, we have here this same number add to 44,660 equal to 219,794. And then this 219,794 plus 26,000 is equal to 245,794. So you can detect if some data is missing, if this one and then this cell, the total, and then in this cell is not equal. So you can see that they must be equal since you are just adding the frequency but in a cumulative way. So I think that's clear. Now let's proceed to how to calculate this relative frequency. To define relative frequency can be found by dividing each frequency by the total frequency. It is a comparative measure of the proportion of the observed values, category, or quantitative value to the total number of responses within a variable. So for this relative frequency, we can just, by definition, you can just divide the frequency to the total frequency. Okay. So for example, 500 divided by 245,794 is equal to 0.002. And now, we also have 113,200 divided by 245,794. We have the relative frequency of 0.461. And now, for Benjamin, the frequency of Benjamin divided by the total number is equal to 0.250. And then so on and so forth. So we can see here, there must be a 1 here because the total frequency divided by the total frequency is, of course, should be 1. So that's how you compute for the relative frequency. So the frequency over the total number or the total number of responses or occurrences. So a frequency is F, this one, defined as the frequency of specific responses or categories. Now, we have this relative frequency presented in our statistical table. So next, we have to compute for the percentage, which I believe you already knew how to do that in your high school or in your basic mathematics or algebra. But I will to review it. Let's define it. So percentage distribution, it can be found by multiplying 100% in each relative frequency. Okay, so in other words, a relative frequency expressed in percentage value. So you can just divide 500 to the total times 100, that becomes the percentage. Or in another way, if you have the data of relative frequency, then just multiply it to 100. So for example, for Isaacar, 0.461 times 100, so that would be our percentage distribution. Okay, so just the frequency divide total times 100. Okay, so for Isaacar, 113,200 divided by 245,794 is equal to 40, times 100 is equal to 46.05. In other words, in the mighty men of valor fit for battle, 46.05% of that are from the tribe of Issachar, or 24.99% are Benjaminites, and then 18.17% are Gadites, and then 10.58 came from the Asher tribe. So that's how you compute for the percentage distribution. So we have now the needed information or data in each cell. So this is your statistical table would look like. Okay, now let's proceed to graphical presentation. So it provides visual presentation of the distributional properties of the data. This is the most efficient way of presenting trends. Some details are lost in using this type of presentation. This is just one of the disadvantages using the graphical presentation. However, there is no such thing as right or wrong, but there is appropriate depending on your data or how you would like to present your data for your readers or for your listeners. Okay, we have here the different type of graphical presentation. We have the pie chart, we have the bar graph or bar chart, we have the line graph, we have the pectograph, we have the stem and leaf plots. Pie chart is a circle from the word pie. So usually the pie is shaped as circle, right? So it is called as pie chart because it is a circle divided into portions that represent the relative frequencies or percentages of the data belonging to different categories. So this is an example of pie chart. So from the Philippine Statistics Authority, we have here the figure number 1. This is the heading. And then the title, Percentage Distribution of Reported Cases of Drug Abuse by Type of Substance in the Philippines last 2004. So here we have the legend. In gray, this is shabu. So 68% of the reported cases of drug abuse is from the substance abuse of shabu, which I believe none of you have tried it, or if you've tried it, will not continue doing it. And then marijuana, they have 25%, and then cough preparation, so on and so forth in this small valued data. So why am I presenting this to you? So that you will have an idea of what kind of society you are living in. So you would be able to know how to help people, how to for your programs. So this might help you especially in gathering some data. So let's proceed. That is an example for our previous example that we've used in statistical data or in a tabular presentation, but I've only presented the percentages. But remember, it's not good to put a lot of information here, a lot of numbers here, because the readers would not understand it well, and it's not good for the eye. So sometimes they just use the frequency and then the percentage, and some are just only using this percentage. And actually, you will do this for your module output doing using your Excel, and I will teach you that in our class. So that's the pie chart. So let's proceed to bar graph or bar chart. So the bases of the rectangles are arbitrary intervals whose centers are the codes. The height of each rectangle represents the frequency of that category, and it is or are used to display categories of data. Is one method of comparing data by using solid bars to represent unique quantities. So from the word bar, so it's like a rectangular. So let's see an example. We have here the figure number top 6 diseases in the Philippines last 2002. We have here the pneumonia, but take note that it is number in 10,000. So let's say 60, then 60,000. So that's a lot of people, right? So here, pneumonia, diarrhea, bronchitis, influenza, hypertension, tuberculosis. So this is the top 6 diseases. And in our councils on diet, so let's be healthy as much as possible to avoid these diseases, and also to help other people who have this kind of diseases. So this is how you present your information using the bar graph. Some using it in the horizontal and some are doing it in a vertical way. So for example, this one, actually I created this using the Excel, and you will know this later so that you will know how to present your data as well. So some are doing it vertically. Then we have here the Simeon, Issachar, Benjamin, and then there is a frequency and then percentage. The blue one is frequency, and then the orange one or the brown one is percentage. So that is the bar graph or bar chart. I didn't put the title, so it's not good. I should have put the title of this chart or bar graph. So let's proceed to line graph. Line graphs are used to display continuous data, and it can be useful in predicting future events when they show trends over time. So usually you can see this one in regression analysis, in some trend analysis using this line graph. So this is one example. Imports as share of domestic rice consumption in 1990 to 2006. So by just looking in this graph, we can see, oh, there's some great changes in 1998. So by just looking at the graph, you'll be able to comprehend some information or changes, or there is a trend in this year. And then using the same examples we've used in statistical table or in a tabular, and then in pie chart, in pie graph, we have also here the line graph. So it would look like this. It also from the Excel, which I believe later you will know how to do this one. Now let's proceed to Pectograph. So it gives an approximation only of the actual figures, compares the different categories, and symbols selected should be self-explanatory and easy to understand. So each symbol represents a number. For example, one cow is equivalent to 10,000. So that's how they use the pectograph. For example, here, the population in the Philippines for census years 1980 to 2000. So in 1980, we have here, so there is a legend. In one picture, it is equivalent to 10 million. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 60 million last 1980. And 2000, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 80 million. So how about now 2021? So there's a lot of people now in the Philippines because it's more fun in the Philippines. Now let's proceed to stem and leaf plots. So it presents data in ordered form and provides an idea of the shape of the distribution of a set of quantitative data. And it combines the grouping of a frequency distribution and the pictorial display of a histogram. And it is best for a small number of observations with values greater than, that is than 0. This is just a typo error, than 0. And it is also called as stem plot. Why stem? Because there is a leaf and there is a stem. So stem plot, just like a plant. So for example, this is the number of chapters in the first 10 Old Testament books. Say Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. So this is the number of chapters in that first 10 Old Testament books. Now let's do the stem and leaf plots. So let's construct. Step 1. Arrange the data in ascending or descending order. So this is our data. So it is already arranged. And then step 2. Split each datum into a leaf value which is the last digit and the stem value which consists of the remaining digit. So leaf is the last digit. So 4, 1, 4, 4, 7, 1, 4, 6, 0, 0. That is the leaf or the last digit. Example, here in 21 and 101. So 1 is the leaf and 2 is the stem. So stem and then 10 and then 1 is, here is the leaf. So again, here 2 or the first digit is, or the 1, the first digit is the leaf and the remaining digits is stem. So it is also leaf and then stem. So 10. Okay. Now, list the stems vertically in increasing or decreasing order and draw a vertical line to the right of the stems. Okay, example. So this is our stem, right? And then put a vertical line, okay, between the stem and the leaf. Now, for each stem, write its leaves to the right of the vertical line in ascending order. For example, let's have the stem of 0 and then 2. Then put the leaves in there in that same row, on the same line in ascending order. So 1, that would become 21, 24. So just use the stem 2 here and then leaf 1, leaf 4, leaf 4, and then 7. So same thing with the other number. So that is the stem and leaf plot. So important features of a stem plot. It reveals the center of the distribution, especially for the normality test. By just looking at the stem plot or stem and leaf plot, you have already an idea if your data is normal. So it illustrates overall shape of the distribution like symmetry and spread. And it shows marked deviations from the overall shapes, gaps, extreme values. So you can see that in the stem plot or stem and leaf plot. So here, I would like to remind you, dear students, the word in the Bible, Isaiah 41 verse 21, it says, "Present your case, says the Lord. Bring forth your strong reasons, says the King of Jacob." So, let's learn how to present our case. How can we be understood by others if we don't know how to present ourselves? How can we present the Bible truth if we cannot present it clearly unto the people. So let's present your information clearly. Let's present it well so that readers, listeners can understand us. So, congratulations and God bless you in the next topic.